Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome back to Copper Jacket TV. Today I have an update for you in Duncan V. Bonta, which is a very important California magazine ban case. Duncan challenges California's ban on magazines that can hold more than 10 rounds. Now, this case is so important that it made it all the way up to the Supreme Court. But what's interesting about this case is that after it left the Supreme Court, every previous order on this case has been vacated. That means it's pretty much been wiped out. Now, that left a lot of people wondering what's going to happen with California Freedom Week magazines. Because if you remember, Judge Roger T. Benitez, in his original order, said that California's law was unconstitutional. Okay, and in that, he granted an injunction against enforcement of that law, and that injunction lasted for about a week, which meant that people could go out, they could purchase and possess and manufacture magazines of any capacity. Now, after a week, he put a stay on his own order, but also barred enforcement of that law for people who had then acquired it during that week. So basically, anybody that had a pre-ban magazine that could hold more than 10 rounds, or anybody that acquired it during that Freedom Week, you were safe. You could keep them, you could own them, you could use them. The California was barred from enforcement on that. But with recent events, making it all the way up to the Supreme Court, right? And then the Supreme Court, after the NYS RPA v. Bruin case, which said that the lower courts can no longer use the two-step approach, which is what the Ninth Circuit used, they decided to vacate the Ninth Circuit's decision and remanded it back down to them. Well, the Ninth Circuit decided to do the same thing, vacated Judge Benitez's decision, and remanded it back down to him. With that decision vacated, means that that injunction no longer exists. And so a lot of people were really worried about, are my Freedom Weeks going to be taken from me? Are they now illegal? Can I still use them? We now have the answer to that in a new order from Judge Benitez. And I want to read you guys a little bit of that order so you guys know exactly what's going on with your Freedom Week mags. Hey, before we get started, if you wouldn't mind, just take a quick second and hit that subscribe button, that little bell notification. It's free, only takes a second, but it helps me out quite a bit. And if you wouldn't mind, check out the main sponsor of this channel, which is the USCCA. Absolutely one of the best memberships you could ever have in your wallet. Excellent peace of mind. They have self-defense liability insurance included with your membership, magazines, reciprocity maps. I mean, if you find yourself in a situation where you need to defend yourself, you simply call 911, you call the number on the back of that card, and they will send somebody out to speak for you and handle everything from there. Now, I gotta say that I'm happy that Judge Benitez moved pretty fast on this one, because for a while there, standard capacity magazines in the state of California were kind of in limbo. There was no longer an injunction, but at the same time, there was an assumption that they would still be considered legal until everything was all figured out. So again, it was a limbo status as to Freedom Week magazines. But I'm going to read you here the last paragraph in Judge Benitez's order that he wrote and signed just yesterday. So the last paragraph, which addresses this topic specifically, should answer your question. I'll put it up on the screen so you guys can see it here. The previously entered preliminary injunction enjoining enforcement of California Penal Code 32310C and D for magazines able to hold more than 10 rounds shall remain in effect for all those who previously acquired and possess magazines legally, including those persons and businesses, entities, who acquired magazines between March 29, 2019 and April 5th, 2019, pending further order of this court. Signed and dated September 16th, 2022, Roger T. Benitez. So basically what all that meant is that Judge Benitez moved very rapidly to reinstate his original injunction. So the way that it was prior to the vacature is the way it is now. So people who own, possess, and use Freedom Week mags or pre-ban mags can still own them and use them without any worry or threat from the California government, essentially. And he basically says, again, that this injunction is going to remain in effect until this case is resolved. So, you're not going to have to worry about it for the time being. And with the vacature and the remanding of this case back down to the lower courts from the Supreme Court saying, hey, do it again, there's a very, very high likelihood that this case will go in favor of Duncan and that California's magazine ban is going to be no more. Basically, what the Ninth Circuit is just trying to do right now is it's just a stall tactic. The Ninth Circuit could have very easily said, well, in light of Bruin and the fact that we have to only use text, history, and tradition, and we have to look back and see if there was any type of ban like this from the original inception or the creation of the Second Amendment in 1791 to the Reconstruction era. If we don't find a law like that in that time period, then that means it's unconstitutional today. And so we find that California's law is unconstitutional. They could have very easily done that. They decided we're going to go ahead and just stall it out for a little bit longer and keep these from flowing into California, standard capacity magazines. So we're just going to go ahead and vacate and remand it down to Judge Benitez, who's almost guaranteed that he's going to write the same order that he had before, because he didn't use the two-step approach, which balanced the government's interest over your rights. He used text, history, and tradition in his original order. So there's nothing to say that he's not going to do that again. So he's going to do that. It's probably going to go back up to the Ninth Circuit, and now they're going to have to look at it. They're going to be forced to look at it through the lens of text, history, and tradition. They're not going to be able to balance California's interest in this whatsoever. So again, while it's a stall tactic, I think the end game is going to be the same. I think that California Freedom Week is going to end up being California Freedom forever. And that's really what I'm hoping for the people of California. They deserve the same freedom that everybody else has. But for now, for those people that are wondering what's going to happen, California Freedom Week mags and pre-ban mags are all safe. And I wanted to give you guys that update as soon as possible before you got too concerned over what could potentially happen, because I'm sure California, if they get their way, would swoop in and take whatever they could as fast as they could. That's just the way that California works. So I want to thank you all very much for watching. I really do appreciate it. Please like, subscribe, and have a great day.